Good evening, and welcome to another Monday here on the Opening Kick. As always, I'm Daniel Petty, your host, and I got my man Gerald Smoke Dixon with me. What is up, sir?
What is going on today, my man?
I don't
Happy
know, man.
Monday.
Happy Monday. We got one more college football game left. NFL's heating up, I guess. The playoffs have been kind of blah, but I think they may heat up a little more next week.
Divisional
The
round is
games, the
always
games have
good.
not been games that outside the Commanders and Bucks last night. The games have all just kind of been beatdowns, which I know you probably enjoyed the beatdown of the Broncos from your Bills.
Nah, not really.
Not so
Really.
much.
We're waiting to this divisional round. That's when real
Oh,
football starts.
next week we got Ravens Bills. That's when you get your popcorn ready. That's
Yeah.
the one we're all looking forward to. I think that may be one of the better games of the year. I'm very excited about that. And we're probably going to talk about it a little bit, but we're going to talk a little pro football into the year. Guys, it's time to start talking about the SEC. Is it losing a little footing in this college football world after 2 straight years of watching the Big Ten? Well, I can't say take on the title yet. Boy, I was about to crown them. Boy, Notre Dame may have something to say about that, but the Big Ten is once again playing for it and looking like a favorite right now. I'll
Crown them. Crown them.
Crown them. We'll see. Talk a little bit that maybe college quarterbacks. There's a few that are headed to the NFL. Maybe get Smoke's idea on which one he thinks is the best fit or may have the best chance to make it on the next level. But man, we got a lot to talk about. With that said, hit that like and subscribe. If you were on Twitter X, come on over to the Bama Standard on YouTube and hit that subscribe and like so you can get all the Bama Standard stuff. I think we got Blake coming on with y'all tomorrow. So full week as always here at the Standard. But before we get going on the show, got a little love to the people that keep the lights on, and that is one Lamstone Company. Check out realrockstone.com. After the show, of course, check us out first for all your stone needs. Lamstone Company. Have you ever dreamed of having beautiful natural stone in or around your home? Well, don't settle for subpar materials. Check out Lamstone Company's selection of natural stone products to meet all your project needs. Lamstone is located in Aniana, Alabama, and is one of the oldest, most trusted sources in the state. So contact them today and tell them we sent you using the promo code TheBamaStandard to receive 10% off your purchase, and give love to the people that give us love at Lamstone Company. Again, check out realrockstone.com after the show. With that said, Smoke, the season's winding down. Texas, the last entrance into the college football playoffs, made an exit as they took 5 chances from the 1-yard line and looked just horrible doing so. Man, we may talk about that for a second. That cost this guy right here a shot at $2,000. I'm pissed about it for a long time. But with that said, the SEC is out. Don't even have a shot at the title again this year. That's 2 years in a row, the final 2. SEC nowhere to be seen. Smoke, man, is the SEC starting to slip a little bit, or is this a sign of the parity within the league, or is the Big Ten now the king? We just got to find a way to get it back.
All things can be true, but I wouldn't say Big Ten's king. I do believe that parity we're seeing it right now in college football, especially in the SEC. And when you had that long run of 20 years of dominating college football, at some point, all good things do come to an end. And I don't think it's an end, but I think it's getting close to going back and forth. And like I said last week, one of the things that working in the Big Ten as a general manager at the University of Maryland, and just evaluating that league, they've done a better job of understanding what the current climate is in college football. And that's not having 3 deep at offensive line, 3 deep at defensive line, and just hoarding talent. They've done more with less for a long time. So what they're doing right now has been normal behavior for them. So they're just evolving rather faster than the SEC. SEC still want to play under the same understanding of hoarding all the talent, but they don't have it. Not all of it. They have a lot, but not every single one of them is coming out of the SEC. And again, the Big Ten, top to bottom, their top is real good. SEC, you have more parity, and from week to week, you can have a team go out there and just physically bludgeon you and lose a game. Ole Miss can lose to Kentucky. It rarely happens, but Vanderbilt can beat Alabama. Georgia can show up and get physically beaten up, lose a game against Ole Miss, but then go and play Texas again and just, have some injuries that they don't truly bounce back from all year. And they just beat each other up. So at the end of the year, the team that's has a less tread on the tires typically comes out on top, especially now in this new format of college football playoffs.
Do you think any team in this format, this era, can rise above and maybe have a run like Bama or Georgia did? Or is it going to, I mean, what we saw this year kind of par for the course now with
par for the course. It's going to be just constantly rotating of who can get the best team that year, because what you're talking about is building a program. And I don't necessarily see a team building a sustainable program in the current model of salary cap, roster retention, the lack of having a developmental growth process in place for a long period of time. Now you just see a 2-year run. Maybe the max is going to be a 3-year run, but Ohio State, they've done a pretty good job of keeping all their guys that's been there for a long time. They got an old team, and they've done a pretty good job of getting the right ones in the portal and paying the correct players, a la Downs, Judkins, Will Howard.
That kid's a player, man. Look, I think, and I think you said, I think you nailed it, Smoke. I think the parity is a problem, and I think when you get to the playoffs, you also see, you talk about tread on the tire. Well, there's not much tread left on the tire when you're having to battle week in and week out, and that's not a knock. I mean, obviously, Ohio State, Penn State, these upper programs in the Big Ten, Michigan last year, can play with any of the top teams in the SEC. They've proven it the last couple of years, but they're also a little bit fresher. They don't have to go in as beat up. And that's, it's going to give them a little edge going into this playoffs. And I just don't see how, because man, you look at next year, the SEC to me it's going to look exactly the same. I don't see a team rising. Georgia's not, we saw, and now their quarterback's going to Miami. Georgia doesn't strike fear like they did the last couple of years. Bama doesn't strike fear. The top teams, Ole Miss, everybody wanted to crown them, and then they do what Ole Miss does. So, there's just no team that seems to want to take the mantle or has the ability to, because of the, like you said, every week you've got to go and fight somebody that can knock you off.
Right. It's the same thing for the Big Ten. Is Oregon going to strike fear into you, losing their quarterback? Losing a couple of their better players, losing their two top offensive linemen. Not really. Mm-hmm. Is Ohio State going to strike fear in you, saying, "Wow, they're going to run it back"? They're going to get people pulled off their team as well too. Michigan got that young quarterback, so I think it's just what we need in college football in terms of making it interesting from week to week, and then after the season having another season. But this is where you're going to have the personnel department show up and put together a team that can strike fear in you, but it's going to be year to year. Who gets the best team in 6 months is going to win the college football playoffs. And again, when you look at it, just think about it like this. You and I are going to go play pickup basketball. We just got to pick up the best 11 guys on offense, 11 guys on defense, and go figure it out with a lump sum of $11 million to pay him.
There you go. Well, with that said, do you see any SEC team like rising? Like, or is it going to be the same quartet? Do you think it's going to be the same teams, or because there's so much parity, we're going to get different names every year? Maybe some years in Auburn, Arkansas pop up.
No, It's still going to be the run of Georgia, Bama, Tennessee, Texas. And then, again, LSU is going to have they're going to have something to say about what happens in the SEC. But yeah, I don't think the way that you and I are viewing it, we shouldn't view it like that anymore. Who cares about the regular season? You're just trying to be the freshest team in the playoffs and figure out how can I get 3 games won to win the national championship. If that's what I need to do. If I got to win 4, it's 4. If it's 3, it's 3. Whatever it is, I just got to figure out the second half of the season. And also maybe take a look into load management and how you prepare your team, how you develop your team, because the days of you having going 3 deep at each position and having the 1s versus 1s, 2 versus 2s, 3 versus 3s, and have 40-something plays in a period. You might have to cut those 40 plays down to 20. And then as you go throughout the season and you get later on the season, start cutting down your amount of, call them basically reps during camp. I mean, not during camp, during the season, or periods during practice. Periods is a block of either 5 or 10 minutes or 7 minutes. Maybe instead of going 10 minutes, 3/4 of the way through the season, cut it down to 7. When you get to about 2 games left, you cut it down to maybe a 5-minute period, so your guys can be more fresh. And also, if you already won your conference or you're in the conversation of being in the top 10, top 5, you sit some of those guys for a couple of weeks. Maybe those rivalry games aren't so important at the end of the year to win, just because the big goal at the end of the year is to get the crystal ball. So it's just a different way that we got to retool it, relook at it, and how we want to think about what is true dominance and what is considered a winning program moving forward.
And 10 Toes Tall said nobody is good anymore. I think this all ties into kind of what you're saying. We got to retool the way we're thinking. We're conditioned as college football fans, even if your team's not dominant, that there's always a dominant force, whether it be USC in the early 2000s, whether it be Nebraska in the mid 90s or whatever, and then Bama for a decade and a half, and then Georgia for a couple of years. We're conditioned that there's always a program that's just you're trying to shoot for. They set the bar and that's what you're trying to beat, but most people can't do it. And that's not what we've got anymore. I don't think it's nobody's good. I just don't think anybody's great. And there's a lot of good teams. And on any given Saturday, somebody can be great, but it's not going to be sustainable because you don't have the depth, or it's just not the same game. But you got to get what we were kind of hoping for at some point. I know we don't like the way it got here. Obviously, NIL, portal, all that's madness. But we wanted some parity in football. We wanted it to be the wild. It makes it a little more exciting when every Saturday you don't know what the hell is going to happen.
Right. And to me, it's every Saturday doesn't matter anymore. It used to. When if you took 2 L's, your season was basically done. Or if you lost to Northern Illinois, your season was over, but not so fast. That was too early. You can bounce back from that. The team that went undefeated in college football is not playing in a national championship game. So thinking that your team has to go undefeated and be truly dominant throughout the whole entire year, that's not how college football is being determined as being good. And that's not the deciding factor on the best team anymore. The deciding factor, the best 2 teams, Notre Dame and Ohio State. Both teams had ugly losses this year. Bad ones, and everybody wanted to fire Ryan Day, or say if he doesn't win a national championship, get rid of him. Or is a couple of years ago when Coach Freeman lost to Marshall, is he good enough there?
Over his head after the Northern Illinois loss this year. He just ain't got it.
All he's showing you is that one guy left to go to the SEC, and he's trying to figure out how to win because he believed that Notre Dame could not get back to the national championship due to the way that NIL and their academic rigorous at Notre Dame, and Coach Freeman showing you that, yes, you can. Ryan Day showing you that I can lose a game against my conference rival and still show up in the national championship game and take a loss to a newcomer, Oregon, this year, and still be the best team, be one of the 2 best teams left in college football. So we just got to retool ourselves and just figure and try to understand that college football is getting closer to the NFL format. And when you think about playoffs in the second season, the first initial season does not matter as much. You're just trying to put yourself in the best seed. And once you put yourself in that best seed, then you figure out how do you want to retool the second half of your season, which is the college football playoffs.
And I think you hit on something else with that, Smoke, that's even deeper, is like looking at this first year. This isn't what you're going to see 3 or 4 years from now. They're still figuring stuff out. I know everybody was all up in arms, but this was the test run. And I think Tough as Nails mentioned what happened in the talk of a super conference. I don't think it's over. I think they can't do it right now. There's still contracts in place for a year or 2 with whatever this pro playoff system is. But it's with if you're not, unless your head's in the sand, I don't think there's any way we're not on the way to a super conference at some
There-
point
you
where it
already
is
have
that
it.
NFL model like you're talking about.
You're-
Oh, yeah. I
you're-
mean, we pretty much do.
You got the Big Ten and the SEC.
Yeah, you do.
I mean, the SEC, Big Ten, the SEC, and Notre Dame.
Yeah. And if you're an SEC team, you just got to hope that the Big Ten levels out like the SEC has, where their Purdue's are like Vanderbilt and can knock them off, or otherwise you are running a gauntlet where you hope you only lose 2 in a year, because 2 is obviously the magic number and not that third one against Kentucky or Mississippi State or whoever the hell that pops you.
Listen, I can give you just a simple model. Look at the AFC in the NFL. Regardless if you like it or not, if you have one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the National Football League, the likelihood of you winning your division and getting to the playoffs very high. So Houston's going to be in it for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo's going to be in it for a while. Kansas City's going to be in it for a while. Baltimore's going to be in it for a while. And those are the 4 teams you can say, you know what? That's it. That you can say, guarantee it. Justin Herbert is going to have something to say. That's 5. And then just start throwing things on the wall. Tua might have a good year. Okay, good. Tua will make it that year. Trevor Lawrence might come back. Then throw him on it. But when you have 4 dominant quarterbacks, just like when you have 4 dominant teams within the conference, most likely those teams are going to figure it out and get into the college football playoffs. And once they get in there, they have to figure out how they're going to win. Big Ten is going to give you 3 a year. SEC is going to give you a shoo-in of 3. That's 6 of the 12. Everybody else, figure out how you're going to get in. Be on the second tier program and slide on in there.
Well, I'm going to put you on the spot before we get to the next topic then, Smoke. Too early look. You said the SEC is going to get 3 in. Who you calling next year? Is Bama back? Texas going to keep that spot? Which they might have something we talk about here in a minute might shake that up a little bit. But what SEC teams you see making noise next year?
Just forecasting next year, I'm going to say Texas for sure, unless Sarkeesian goes and bounces and that whole thing gets ripped off. But I think Texas for sure. I would say Georgia will have something to say. And I'm going to say Tennessee.
Man, I was going to say Tennessee. Man, they've got – well, and if you look at it, the schedules don't change much next year other than wherever you went to this year, you get at home and vice versa. So the schedule still sets up well for Tennessee as it did this year, and I expect Nico to take another step. I don't know, man. I don't know what their defense has. They've got to replace a lot on that defensive line, but and then Georgia, Kirby's going to keep them there, but the offense, they've got to figure some stuff out on offense. I know they're fired up about Bobo over there. And like you said, before we get to it, Texas is one. I mean, they're just built for it. They've got the money on top of the revenue sharing that's coming out. They're gonna Arch is gonna be there. They've got a quarterback, and having a quarterback makes a difference. But I don't think Alabama. I mean, you can never sleep on what Alabama.
I am.
You think okay? Let's before we get to it, man.
And
You think Alabama stays even, or can they take a step up next year? Do you think they take a step back?
I think they're a 9-win program next year again.
Okay,
2 years in a row. But who's to say 9 can't get you win?
Oh, I mean,
you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that I'm just saying they're not a shoo-in. They're the 4th team in the SEC, that big win, who they beat, how they finish the season, can they get in? But I would say that coming back for next year, I wouldn't Georgia, Tennessee, Texas. And Bama was really close for me with Georgia being on the edge of that, just because I know what Gunnar Stockton looks like. I just don't know what Bama's quarterback looked like. I don't know what their receivers look like. Just like Georgia's, I don't know what they look like, but I know what Georgia's defense is going to look like. And I have more confidence in Kirby and Glenn Schumann than I do with the other team and their staff.
I like what Bama's got coming back on defense, though. I thought the defense got better throughout the end of the year, and really, I mean, of all the atrocities of whatever the Gator Bowl was, the defense really kind of left it out there, and a lot of that's coming back. So again, it's like you say, though, it's going to be very reliant on the quarterback. You're going to have Simpson gets his chance, and I know everybody's fiending to see Keelan Russell, but I know y'all going to talk about that on the show tomorrow, but you kind of got he's a freshman coming to the SEC. I don't care how good you
I
are.
don't count on any freshman doing
No,
that.
there's always growing pains, regardless of how great you are,
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, y'all are going to talk about that tomorrow. But before we get to our next topic and talk about Texas and Mr. Sarkeesian, go to WhitwillSports.com and get your title towel today. If you're following me all over the Caribbean, I had that thing with me next to Smoke's hometown.
Home country. The greatest island in the world, Jamaica. Come on, man.
Is it the greatest island in the world?
The greatest.
There you go.
If we can have an hour-long talk about this.
I'm not going to argue with the man from there.
No, and we create what's the number one thing that people know about in the world? The first thing you want to do is always listen. When do you listen to music? When you listen to music,
Bob Marley and that Rastafarian, baby.
Reggae music.
Yeah, reggae.
Okay. That's just, I mean, a lot of people listen to hip-hop music. Hip-hop music is reggae.
There you go.
Reggae.
Well, while you're listening to that reggae, swing around that title towel from WhitwillSports.com. Tell them promo code standard and get 20% off today. That title towel while you listen to my man his hometown music, some Bob Marley.
And the fastest people in the world.
And
we had a world heavyweight boxing in the world. I mean, we can keep going.
Could you beat Bolt in a race?
Hell no.
Your name
I wouldn't even waste my time. That dude he's different, man.
What is up with the speed from that island? It is a different, like.
Listen, Siski, I mean, not Siski, I mean Petty. Let me tell you, listen, we're not, he keeps hitting my phone too. Listen.
Yeah, that's Siski texting you.
Yeah, we're not Petty. We're just great at everything.
Well, shit, y'all decided to do a bobsled team and took that over. Come
on. You know Patrick Ewing, huh?
I'm aware who Patrick Ewing is.
We gave him.
Am I a dumbass for not knowing that Patrick Ewing was from Jamaica?
No, we gave you Marcus Garvey.
I mean, you can stop it. Okay.
We gave you Bob.
I'm surprised Al Davis didn't try to get Bolt to play for the Raiders.
Petty, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't think he'd do anything. That's
Al Davis. If you ran that kind of speed, Al Davis was on it.
We gave, Lennox Lewis is Jamaican too.
Really?
Come on.
Are you just making? No, he isn't even like. Isn't he? I thought he was British.
British? Go look at
Jamaican. Where was the British boxer? Lewis knocked out Tyson, right? That was. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, Mike Tyson's a joke, bro. He only beat up people that couldn't fight.
Wait, well, hold up now. We're about to get wholly sidetracked on Sarkeesian going pro and what kind of domino effect that may cause. But did you just say Tyson was a joke?
Michael Gerald Tyson beat up cab drivers and people that didn't punch back. Name 3 guys that was worth Tyson's effort. And when he fought against somebody that was good, what happened to him? He got busted up. Holyfield busted him up. Lennox busted him up. Didn't beat anybody. He beat up cab drivers and
Mike. He wasn't the same Mike.
All right, when he was the same Mike, who did he beat? Trevor Burbick. He's Jamaican. He bust Trevor up.
I can't argue it. Tyson's the mean. Come on, man. But you say that, and I'm going through all those highlights of when he beat dudes in like 1 minute, like Spinks and all those guys. I mean, he was.
Listen, man.
Pre-prison Mike was. Come on, man. Like,
I'm not saying the showstopper.
He can't help that. He couldn't help who they put in the ring. They put the best in the ring. He knocked their asses out.
I'm not disagreeing. It's not like he went to jail for 10 years. He came out. He fought Holyfield, and Holyfield just destroyed his face. And then he fought him again, busted him up again. Then he went down to Memphis and said he wanted to fight the Jamaican. Lennox gave him what he was looking for. I'm just telling you, your great fighter didn't beat anybody. He beat cab drivers and bums.
Drivers and bums. And he bit an ear off, though.
Because he's getting his face lifted off. We can get to the next subject, though.
Man, I'm trying. It's funny because I want to argue so bad because he is the scariest, most dangerous man alive. But if you go through the highlights of all his knockouts, most of them were kind of bums. And now I'm like, now you're trying to make me rethink everything, but I'm not going to lay off. I fought him in Mike Tyson's Punch Out. I know how tough he was.
Sure.
With that said, Smoke, for 2 months since you called me Siski and he's texting you, ask him his thoughts right now. He's been banging the drum that Sarkeesian would get a shot in an NFL job. There's murmurs. I think even McCready, who we've had on the show, was saying by beginning of next week, he could have some offers, maybe Oakland. Are you hearing anything about Sark in the pros? I know you've got connections that way too.
How about Sark to Dallas?
That's the other one. Man, is that oof. What does that do? What kind of ripple effect? I mean, Texas comes open. Where do they go? Okay, is that what you're hearing? Sark to Dallas?
I can tell you what that can do to a program. Have more people donate into your collective. Get you a new maybe 2 to 3 year mores on that contract, and make you the most expensive coach in college football. That's what it can do, because I don't think he's going to really take that job and leave Arch Manning. That's headaches, but I can see where he doesn't want to put up with the bull crap of a young person walking into your room and telling you he wants to leave if you don't pay him any more money. So if the Dallas Cowboys come to him with a proper contract and give him 6 years, I think the money might go up to $54 million, because Miko got 6 for 46 when Miko signed his. I think that I would look at that strongly. I mean, you can make more money in college football, but the headaches, my God, I don't know if they're worth it.
Well, that's the question, man. I get it. And the Arch thing is the weird dynamic in all this, because I think if that dynamic's not there, I think it's a no-brainer. I remember when people were talking about bring D'Amico back to Alabama. Look, I know Mama calling and all that. You're not leaving an NFL job, especially when you're in a playoff NFL job, that you've got a young quarterback to come to college and deal with all the headaches. That's the deal. The headaches, like,
well, it's for Miko's case. If you have a franchise quarterback, why would I come mess around with a place like lacks stability in terms of me following the legend that just left? And I win 10 games and everybody's gonna want me out of there. Yeah, I got CJ Stroud. Yeah, I'm not going anywhere. I'm a lifer. Sign me up. Been to the playoffs 2 years in a row. Won this wild card game. Yeah, Miko's gonna get probably another contract extension in 2 years. I wouldn't think about Alabama. Just like if I was Sark and the Vegas Raiders had a conversation with me, I would ask them, what are they going to do in terms of the quarterback position? I don't think that, well, we'll get to that later on, but I don't think there's a franchise quarterback in this current draft. So Vegas wouldn't entice me as much as Dallas, because I know I have Dak Prescott, but I also know that I'm working for Jerry Jones. You got to have that headache as well, too. But your team is pretty much set up to go on a run. The NFC is pretty much wide open. I mean, you got Detroit, but that Jared Goff thing is going to run its course at some point. In terms of a young quarterback, you got Jaden Daniels, but they got to figure out the rest of what's going on in Chicago. So you have a 3 to 4 year window to win the NFC and have a true chance at finishing this thing out in the Super Bowl, if you want to look at that Dallas job. If I was him, I wouldn't take a look. I wouldn't be bothered with that Chicago job, just because it's tough up there, man. I don't think that they're ready to make a run, because Detroit, like I said, has a 3 year window that they're going to operate in. Minnesota is still there with a young quarterback that I believe has franchise type traits, just like Dak. And I don't think he's a top 5 quarterback, but at his best, JJ can finish out in top 10. I don't believe that Sam Darnold is the guy.
Darnold's had a pretty good year, man.
Yeah, listen.
Throwing to a pretty good receiver. Yeah, he's got a good offense around.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying Darnold can't go into a matchup head to head, him versus Jaden Daniels, and beat Jaden Daniels toe to toe.
I think Jaden Daniels, and I know he's a rookie, and you always want to see that sophomore year, because there's a lot of times some growing pains. NFL teams are pretty good at figuring kids out, but he kind of went through that a little bit mid-year and still came out of it and looked, man, I tell you what, Jaden Daniels has a chance to be one of the top 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the NFL. That kid's silk.
Calm down.
Oh, come on, man. He is silk. That dude's I've seen enough. I've seen him live, and now I've watched him do it in the NFL. And again, I was writing him off. After seeing him live, I thought he was going to get killed in the NFL. I thought he was going to throw his body out there and get murdered, and he still may. But that was one of the things I noticed most about him was learning how not to get to take the big hit that he was taking in college. Somehow, you don't think Daniels has got that type of top NFL quarterback?
No, I do think he has the ability to play really good football in the NFL. When you're saying top 3, you're saying he's going to be better than potentially flip it in any way. He's going to be in a conversation with Lamar. He's going to be in a conversation with Josh. He's going to be in a conversation with Joe. And he's going to be in the same conversation with Patrick. He's going to be in the same conversation with CJ Stroud.
I think that's where I think, yeah. Okay. Enter the conversation right there. I believe he's
right. So that's 5 or 6. And I think that's where he is. The thing that I would say is in the world, everyone always wants to drum up the next.
Yeah.
I'm always willing to wait on to see what happens. I understand the talent. I recognize the talent, but I'm not going to just anoint the talent as being one of the. Just like the same way that by week 3 or 4 in college football, Ryan Williams was the greatest player ever to play at Alabama. And I told you guys, not so fast. Bring it down. The next one I heard was Jeremiah Smith is Julio Jones. Siski, you said it. I bring you on the show. He's not Jones.
Did Siski make the Jones comparison?
Oh, yeah. Siski said it. I saw him run routes live. I know Siski saw Jones live. I have never in my life seen anything like Julio Jones. I've never in my life seen anything live and in color like Calvin Johnson. When we start putting up names and running up in comparison to those guys,
that's why I'm surprised if he made that comparison and that's what you're talking about, Calvin Johnson and Julio. You can be dynamic in the sense that Terrell Owens and all those, but you can't create the 6'6" freak of natures. That just is
I've never seen anything like Julio Jones.
Yeah.
I've never seen it. But again, everyone has an opinion. I would say any rookie at any position, wait till year 2 before you start putting them in a category, because everything is brand new right now, Petty.
Mm-hmm.
And no one knows his tendencies. Give the defensive coordinators a year or 2 to study. If he's right-handed, make him play left-handed and see how he operates. Everyone knows every single tendency that Lamar, Josh, Joe, Patrick, all of those guys have. But guess what? You can't do nothing about it. And that's what I'm waiting on, to see Jaden Daniels in that light. And again, it's not like he's playing with some bums. Everyone wants to, Scary Terry's a man.
Oh, McLaurin can play. Man, McLaurin's a hell of a receiver. But again, he's doing it at a place that, the last time we saw a quarterback take the Commanders where they were the Redskins was Mark Rippon in 1990.
No,
before that, Doug Williams.
Kirk Cousins played good. And I remember everyone was saying RG3 was the next coming of whatever. But it's
RG, I thought RG was good. I thought he could throw.
Yeah, there you go. RG3's gonna be the next one, but we can get to we can get to
now. Say, do you think Sark will take a pro job, or you think it's still on the fence?
No, Sark is gonna use this to get more money. Keep pushing.
Oh, so you think he stays at Texas?
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay. Siski said interest. I don't think he said for sure if he was going to go or not, but he did say interest. With that said, man, you said it. You mentioned, and this is a good segue. If he did talk to Oakland, who's your quarterback? Because you don't see any marquee quarterbacks out of this class, man. Who are you drafting? Shador? You drafting Cam?
And they're gonna start beating you up. You showing your age, Petty. They're the Vegas Raiders now. They're the Las Vegas.
Did I call him Oakland? At least
Yeah.
I didn't call him L.A.
Yeah, well, yeah, you are old too. But either way, if I was taking a quarterback, I would say Shador is the cleanest one right now. But I know that if I have Shador in my building, everything has to be right. I have to get 2 receivers. I got to have a package like the Philadelphia Eagles have with Jalen Hurts. And I'm not saying that Shador is Jalen Hurts. I'm just saying he's a win with quarterback. Just like Jalen Hurts is a win with quarterback. You're going to have a good offensive line, good receivers, a good coordinator, good running back in order for you to go into a game against the top teams in the playoffs and actually win. And it's my formula from if you don't win at college with less, it's hard for you to prove to me that you're going to do that in the pros. If you look at most, not all, college quarterbacks that won at their program or took their program to the next level, most of the time when they get into the NFL, they do the same. No one knew about Wyoming until Josh.
Dude, that's actually a great. I don't know if I started thumbing through great quarterbacks and who they played for in college as you said that, and I mean that's absolutely.
You have to change the trajectory of your program. If you don't, how are you going to change the trajectory of the NFL program, which are better players? So if you want to go through, just run a quick. If you just want to run just a quick query on the top 15 guys that's actually won, and take away the Alabamas, don't put the high. Take away the top tier programs out of it, and put quarterbacks that made a program a winning program within their 4 or 3 years there, and then they are taken in the top 5, and look what they do to their program.
I mean, look no further than both Mannings. Peyton took over at Tennessee when they had kind of dipped, and Eli took over. You can't name anybody that Eli played with right now at Ole Miss other than Eli Manning.
Oh, I can't, because I played against him.
Yeah, you did. You played against Chris. You played against Chris.
Yeah, he was throwing to a bunch of freckle legs.
Yeah. He was, though. That's the reality of it. I mean,
I remember Wayne Bacon and I had what's Chris's last name? Chris
Collins.
Chris Collins. We had him covered up, and
Eli ran a 4.8.
Eli fit a ball between Wayne and I in a window about that big, and I just happened just to put my hand in front of Chris's face. I might just glance by it like this, and the ball bounced off his helmet. And I looked at Wayne. I was like, "Whoa!" I said, "Okay, he's good."
Was it different? Is it really different?
Yeah, you know when guys are different, when you do your best and you're like, "I'm still not good enough." My moment was going against Dante Stallworth as a sophomore, and I thought that I was fast. And Dante ran a 9 route. It's a vertical route down the field. And he ducked his head and he said, "Ugh!" And he took another gear. And I tried to hit another gear, and I was really behind him. And I said, "Okay." I walked back. And I said, "Dante, you can run."
So that kid's got a little bit of speed.
Yeah, but when you look at quarterbacks like that, like Ben Roethlisberger, when he was at Miami, Ohio, won big time. You can see it go the other way as well, too.
I hate to
Matthew Stafford, even though he won a Super Bowl, he had everything around him that was perfect. Patrick Mahomes basically carried Texas Tech by himself. Josh carried him. Lamar Jackson at Louisville carried Louisville. Right? So when everyone wants to run these and say, Shador didn't have any. Damn, yeah, he did. He had another guy that's going to the top 2.
Yeah,
and he had Horn. He had Horn, and he had Will Shepherd. Like you, and then he said, "Well, he got sacked a bunch of times." Sack is a quarterback stat. Milroe. Well, exactly. Like Milroe is not going to go into a program and transcend that program. He's going to go right in and fit in. Bryce Young is a fit-in guy. He played with the best, at the best, and still didn't dominate at a high level. C.J. Stroud, as good as C.J. Stroud is, go look at his receivers and look at his offensive line that he had at Ohio State. To take that guy,
but I mean, I don't know. CJ's different. I'm a different. I felt like that about CJ coming out, but I've kind of changed my tone on him in the pros.
When? Like Nico Collins is a damn good receiver.
Yeah, Nico's good, but I mean, to do it in the pros like he's doing, he's making plays, man.
What do you have you seen Houston's defense this year?
Oh, it's
damn good. They're not winning because of CJ Stroud. Matter of fact, they've lost games because of him. He played like crap in that last game. That defense stood up and played and blanked Justin Herbert.
Yeah, they did.
CJ had a bunch of talent. Like at the end of the day, you gotta say, "Ooh, can we do it?"
Well, everybody knows about Cam and Shador, and man, there's Justin brought up even rumblings of Prime, maybe even at Dallas, if not Sark.
Listen, I can see where Prime could get in that conversation. He and Jerry Jones.
Oh yeah,
drum up something, and to get Shador and Shiloh drafted. But if I'm in that locker room, I'm laughing, man.
Yeah. Well,
you're going to trade Dak Prescott for that. So basically, what you're trading, you're trading a young Dak. You're trading an old Dak for a younger version of what Shador's ceiling is going to be, which is Dak, a top 10 quarterback with really good players in order to win. And I think that's what people aren't looking at. Like even Cam Ward is not a franchise quarterback. Like if you're a franchise quarterback, yeah, you go down to Miami and you win a national championship. Bring him
oh yeah. And I'm not sure there is one in this class, but that's what I wanted. But man, you know who's starting to get there's some smoke coming out of the camp. We talked about Manning at Ole Miss and doing Jackson Dart starting to get some talk in the NFL circles. What are you hearing anything about that? If he goes out and looks good at the Senior Bowl in Mobile, they're saying that he could kind of have a bump, not Jaden Daniels as much, but kind of a Jaden Daniels like type bump.
Jaden Daniels is a Heisman Trophy winner. Jaden Daniels played really damn good football and set the SEC on fire and dominate the SEC. Only like one other man that he was close to, and that's Cam Newton. That's another guy that transcends another program. What he did in the NFL.
I'm just saying, man. I'm reading this from people that not me. That this ain't coming from Daniel Petty. This is coming from people.
Every year, there's a few lonely scouts that have a couple of friends within the media that they trust. And it's year to year that you see a Mac Jones. You see him run up the draft board, and Mac Jones is mac and cheese without any eggs, no seasoning, no salt, just bland as hell, and not even real cheese, just powdered cheese. That's what I think about Mac Jones. And even, what's the other? Kyle Trask. Not Trask, Trash. Same guys.
Jeez.
I think that Jackson Dart is a solid football player. I think he can be in a couple of years on the backup island. I don't think he's a franchise quarterback. If you want to start,
I don't either. And I have my doubts. That's why I'm asking, because I've started hearing things now that people are trying to almost murmur that he's. But is it because of a default because the quarterback class is that bad that they're just trying to find something good?
I think it's just something that they want to give you and I to talk about that seems good and it seems cool. But when I just haven't seen a quarterback come out of that system, be able to process, make throws, and become an NFL type of quarterback. I think he does have the skill set to play. He's mobile. He has a good enough arm, smooth delivery, tough as heck within the pocket, has some grittiness to him. But what's the difference between Jackson Dart and Spencer Rattler?
But see, that's what you described. Everything you described is what starts giving me pause to think, well, maybe he can do it. He's tough. He's got the arm. He can move. He's heady. I mean, the problem is a lot of kids come out of that Lane Kiffin and not Kiffin. We'll throw Heupel, the guy that's now at State. That system is set to make quarterbacks look good because it is a system where you step in and if you do what's set up, it's set to to explode like our boy Blake did within it.
What was the difference between Jackson Dart and your guy Matt Corral?
What's between the ears, and I don't want to knock Matt, but I mean, I think there's a little more between the ears with Dart.
You do? And what tells you that?
Mentally, there's I mean, there's the
like the gimme throws that he gets. Like I just think that whenever most evaluators in the NFL look at quarterbacks, everyone's trying to drum up like the next one.
Yeah.
And at some point you got to go with what you see on film, and again you got to project as well too, and we all do that. Just like I'm a fan of Drew Allar, and I think Drew is a year away. He played like crap in that last game, and if we're going by last game, Shador shouldn't be drafted number 1 either because he played bad as well. He's a guy that needs to come back, just like Beck, just like Milroe. Those guys need to play more college football in order to get their skill set up to what Shador and Cam Ward is. And when you look at Cam and Shador, this is the best that they're going to get. How much better is Shador going to get? He's not athletic. He's incredibly accurate. He's bright. He's smart. He's
got a cannon.
He does not have a cannon.
Questionable footwork. I think he does because I don't think he has the best footwork. I think he's all arm. I don't think he's
Shador is actually buttoned up and clean in the way that he delivers the ball. He's been coached by the best. Prime has given the best to his son.
There ain't no doubt about that, Jeff.
Like he's been coached by the best quarterback teachers in the world. He's bright. He can figure the game out. He plays the game from the shoulders up at a high level. He's incredibly intelligent. He's not athletic. He does not have a huge arm. He's just a solid football player. Cam Ward, he doesn't have a cannon. He can throw from different platforms. He's creative. He can come off the script and make plays, but he comes off and plays too much off the script. And when you play off script in college, you just get hit. When you play off script in the NFL, you get killed. And 3/4 of your season is done, and everybody in the locker room, including the owner, is pissed at you because you're wasting everyone's time getting hurt, and no one likes you. You're going to end up like my boy Caleb Williams. No one wants to pick you up when you're on the ground just because you like diving on the ground a lot. Stay in the pocket. But the number 3 quarterback, I guess, would be Jackson Dart.
But again,
or Jalen Milroe. If you want to go into the Anthony Richardson scenario.
Do you see Milroe? Does he have a shot? I mean, where do you see Milroe going in this draft?
He's going to get drafted in the first round.
Oh, yeah. And where?
In the first round.
Oh, you think Milroe's a first round?
Yeah. I don't think he's going to be I don't think he's a first rounder. He's going to get drafted in the first round.
But you think he's going to get drafted in the first round?
Yeah. If Ryan Pickett got drafted in the first round, come on. Trey Lance got drafted in the top 5.
Let's not get on the Trey Lance. I saw a video of that guy and wanted to know what people like if I was on drugs and just didn't understand what I'd watched in football my whole life. That dude was throwing 20 yards
in the top 5. So it happened.
NFL GMs are crazy. I'm going to be interested to see because, like you said, this is a draft where you could honestly opt to not take a quarterback into the 3rd round, and I don't think you'd be crazy. But they're not. Somebody's going to take a chance on one of the two for sure. I want to see where these quarterbacks go. It's going to be weird quarterback draft class. Speaking of quarterbacks, man, I saw a question, and there's been some debate in our thread that I love the topic. So we've got a little bit of time left, 12 minutes that we can hop in. We had some questions and comments in the chat, but there's one that's going to cause a little bit of debate that I want to get you to weigh in on that I saw rolling about the greatest quarterback of all time. I mean, I know the answer, but I want to hear your thoughts.
The greatest quarterback of all time.
Oh, what topic did I forget? Oh, NFL Wild. Yeah, we didn't do man, Justin's getting on me. We didn't do the NFL Wild Card recap.
Let's recap and let's get to the quarterback because you got to think about what you're asking me.
Oh, I know. Okay, well, the recap was it was really lame until the Bucs and Commanders last night. Every game was a blowout. Like there wasn't a close game. Come on, man.
The wild card weekends are typically not wild, and you get one game out of it, and you still got one that's going to come on tonight. But in the NFL, just working in it for a few years and playing in just a few myself, it's a quarterback league, and you have to have a gamer and a calm head coach, coordinator, and a nasty defense that you can go on this wild card run, win in the wild card weekend, and go all the way through and actually win the Super Bowl.
It rarely happens.
Rarely happens, especially if you're one of the teams that's on the road. If you're one of the home teams, you have a really good shot. But when you have a quarterback, like you have an 80% chance to win every game when you have one of the top ones. Lamar Jackson, Josh, Patrick, and yeah, for me, then that's where it stops for me. And everybody else has a great team.
Yeah.
Philly should be better, but they're not just because of the quarterback. Detroit has a really good chance to make a run at it due to the fact that they're going to play.
Well, they got the Commanders. I don't think the Commanders were a good story this week. I don't think they're good enough to beat the Lions and win.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But they're playing all their games at home inside, where Jared Goff plays better. They don't necessarily have a closer on defense. But they have enough to disrupt you. And if you're playing from behind and they're running the ball at a really good clip, that bleeds the clock. And before you know it, they're up by 14. Meathead is going to go for it on 4th down several times. That means you got to call a perfect game, and he puts pressure on you. The winner of this game, the Minnesota and the Rams game, I think can put some pressure on Detroit if they eventually get there. But for me, I don't see the Eagles being that big of a threat. And whenever I see a receiver with a book on the sideline, that's telling me.
Hey, man, what's that tell you?
One thing. Yeah, he dislikes his quarterback, and he's so bored that he's getting 3 targets and getting 2 dirt balls that he'd rather read a boring book about self-improvement instead of going and snapping off and choking out his quarterback.
That's the weird thing. People get into this AJ Hurts thing. They're actually boys, man. They would hang out on the weekends when they were in college. So I don't know.
Man, listen to me. I hear that. If you're my boy, there's no way that you rarely have you ever seen a receiver show up a really good quarterback and they not get shipped out of town?
No.
Okay, good.
Well, and talk to me about
this guy up weekly.
He does.
It's a weekly thing. He's not. They can say they're boys all they want to. I would hate to have a friend like that.
Who do you think gets shipped out in that deal, AJ or
whoever has more money and whoever Howie has more money invested in? But Jalen Hurts I wouldn't say he's a dime a dozen quarterback, but he's the reason why they're not going to win.
The system props him up greatly.
There is no system that he doesn't prop anything.
He's got a good team around. I mean, he's got Barkley and 2 great receivers.
The best team in the NFL.
That's what I'm saying. He's propped up by what's around him. He's got a great damn team around him.
He has 2 Hall of Fame tackles.
Yeah.
Jordan and Lane are 2 Hall of Fame tackles. And maybe we want to argue they're the best at their position. You have one of the best running backs in the NFL. To hand the ball. You got one of the best tight ends.
Oh yeah, I do.
You have one of the best tandem of receivers in the NFL, and your defense is damn good.
Yeah.
Now you tell me,
they're playing good ball, man.
You tell me what's the problem with that? Everyone knows it, and he goes out with that same stoic look, man. I'm just trying to be the best I can be with the best I can be with the best I can. Hey, dude, you're not that. You're the problem. He's the problem. He's the problem. He's the reason why.
You're saying it, not me. But I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. I think, but I look, man, all those games, I don't think they're the game everybody's gonna look for is that one. It's Lamar.
It's this weekend.
Yeah, it's this weekend. It's Ravens. It's Bills. That's we can talk about all those other games. Ravens and Bills, what we got circled. That's one.
Kansas City, Houston's going to be a pretty good game as well too.
Houston's defense could make it a game. Kansas City's looked a little weird this year. They're kind of old. The offense weapons, but it's still Patrick Mahomes, man. We're about to get into this debate on the greatest NFL quarterback of all time, and I think Mahomes absolutely deserves to be in the argument.
You tell me who's yours. I'll tell you who mine. Go ahead. You can go first.
Greatest quarterback of all time. All right, we'll hop to it. But
you got one guy to pick. This is it. Tell me the.
I don't even have to debate. I'm not even going to hesitate.
Go ahead. Get it to
John Elway.
Okay. And what are the criteria in this? Like the best physically gifted guy, or the guy that you go in and like win with?
He could do it all. What could you not do with John Elway? He was the competitive, the arm, and I get people are going to go back to when he lost to San Francisco in the Super Bowl. And had the greatest team ever, but that was all John Elway. Yeah, I mean, if that's the case, then Dan Marino doesn't get the argument. He deserves to be in the damn argument because he was magical. I just Elway, and look, there's some partiality. The first game I remember watching as a kid wasn't a college game. It was the 1986 playoffs when Elway had a minute and a half to bring them back against the Browns, and he did it 94 yards. And at that moment, I was a John Elway guy. Mm-hmm. Was until the day he retired. He was my favorite player of all time. But even with that said, I do think there's arguments. I want to hear yours for sure. But even with that, I think Elway, he's in the argument for the greatest of all time. He could scramble. There wasn't a throw on the field he couldn't make. He's the ultimate competitor, man. Elway's my guy. Who's yours?
If I had to go in the draft and draft one quarterback, and the perfect quarterback of all time, I would say Aaron Rodgers, and I don't think it's close. I hear what you say about John Elway.
No, that's a great. That might be my second answer. I think that's a great freaking answer. Smoke, go with it.
Remove all of the, like, we're not talking about like intangibles in terms of leadership and being the best friend of the tight end or receiver, or guys want to go out and hang out and have a beer with you. I'm just talking about just natural talent. I have not seen anybody command the football like Aaron Rodgers. And everyone would say, oh, well, he's not that great. Aaron Rodgers ran a 4.56 at the combine. Like people remember John Elway running the ball, but Aaron was faster than Cam Newton. 4.5 is like that's receivers running that.
Yeah.
And we always like the look away throw. Everyone wants to say, oh yeah, Matthew Stafford and Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, Aaron's the only guy that I would evaluate a team, and I would just stop the tape and I would call everyone that was in the scouting department and say, hey man, come here, look at this. I've never seen this before. He would do some things that you walk away and like, really? Well, he would look to his left and throw a 60-yard rope and hit the receiver in stride and just unbuckle his helmet and just walk to the side like it was touchdown.
And it wasn't like he had to sit back there and put everything into it. And look, I love Elway. I don't think you can argue his arm, but when a lot of times Elway was putting and just throwing a bullet, the precision of Aaron Rodgers, I don't think Drew Brees was as accurate as it gets, but Aaron Rodgers' ability to flick a 60-yard bomb and put it almost like a fly fisherman. The greatest fly fisherman can put it on a spot. Aaron Rodgers could put a football on a spot. And then you talk about the athleticism. I've heard from people that know. Again, I rely on people like you that know the game a lot. What you've said, my next pick might have been Aaron Rodgers because of what you said.
Like Aaron would you can play the best defense, and he would put it outside shoulder and stop the receiver right before he got blown up. Like there's a lot of people that throw the ball and a lot of people that pass the ball. Aaron's one of the few that can place it with velocity, touch. The guy throws Hail Marys like he throws 5-yard outs.
Yeah, I agree.
Just think about
that. No, I think he has to have the record for Hail Marys completed.
If they would ever have given him anything close to a weapon, I think that the numbers that he would put up would be crazy. And the people got to remember, there's about 3 to 4 years of his career that he didn't even touch the football field because there was another guy in front of him named Brett Favre. So statistically, he's not going to be in that conversation of the gaudy ones, the Patrick Mahomes, and Patrick for me would be my number 2.
I'm all ears for the Patrick argument.
Because I mean, you're scared crapless when he has the ball. But
okay, never in my life in the NFL, when it's 3rd and 12, NFL defenses get the hell off the field, go get the punt, and go on. When it's 3rd and 12 and Patrick Mahomes has the ball, you're almost like, well, he's about to get this shit.
Yeah, and the reason why I would put Patrick second because Patrick and even John, they do some dangerous stuff with the football. Like Aaron was so just so meticulous the way that he delivered it, the precision that he had on throws, the type of layer throws that he could make. Like he could put it over the top of a linebacker's head between the DB and like make the ball change another direction to hit you like 5 yards to keep you running. Like Jordy Nelson should be happy that Aaron Rodgers kept I gave him so much money in his pockets.
A lot of mid receivers. And look, you can say a lot
Devontae
about it.
Adams should be ecstatic
Yeah.
that Aaron Rodgers was his quarterback. And I'm not saying Devontae's but come on, man. Like Mike McCarthy, like the Green Bay Packers should be fired up. As much crap as Aaron gave them towards the end of his career, yeah, he deserved every single last penny. And I get it. There's a couple of games that you wanted him to win, but talent-wise, yeah, I'm taking Aaron first, second, third, fourth, and you can have Joe Namath, John Elway, Troy Aikman is the most overrated quarterback of all time.
Aikman, look.
The guy never finished in the top 5 in anything.
And I saw Warren Moon. Warren Moon, Dan Marino were the same guy to me. They were both great passers, but never could get it over. I love the Stabler comment. Now he played in an era that like was you'll never see again. Where dudes,
I don't know Snake that well. I respect Snake.
Snake would come in after not sleeping drunk and play in the Super Bowl. That's the game Snake would play.
Snake is legendary, man. I remember the first time that I had a run-in with Snake. We were downtown in Birmingham. I forget what hotel. And we're having some type of event. And this is, I mean, he's in rare form. And you know,
had a few drinks.
Listen, I didn't see him with a drink in his hand, so I'm never going to say if I don't see it, I'm not going to say he had one. But he had someone on his arm that was really young and really good looking. he just did a gentleman slap on her arm behind. Pie out. Winked at me, say, Smoke, I still got it. And I said, Snake, respect.
That is great. Did he really?
Oh, listen.
Smoke,
Snake,
I still got it.
I still got it. Wink.
See, I don't give. We can talk ball all day. I'm here for the Stabler. I still got it stories. Any name? Did you ever cross Namath?
I met Joe once when we played in the Orange Bowl, and he came by and he spoke to the team. And that was the only time. But I'm trying. What was Snake's his daughter is also an agent. She went to Bama. Golly, it's a pretty good agent.
Namath's daughter went to Bama at the same time I did too.
I hope you don't have any stories.
None. No, I'm not. We're gonna cut feed here.
Alexa,
and get to some audience questions.
Alexa. Yeah, Alexa Stabler. I don't know if she's still an agent, but she at one point she had JP. What's the punter from Bama? JK
Scott.
JK Scott. That was one of her clients.
Okay.
Yeah. Shout out to Alexa Stabler, man. Super agent.
I still got it.
I still got it. Winked at me. Still got it, Smoke.
I love that, man. I'll smile for that the rest of the day. All right, we got some questions from the audience and some comments before we get out of here. Let's hit it. Horton Solos. Love the name. Ewers enter the portal. Let's go get him. Hey, Justin, nod your head. Is Ewers in the portal?
You know what? Okay, so what I can tell you, Petty, is that if he's not in, he's going to be in. He's going to be. If I had a bold prediction, it's not even bold. He's not going to finish his career at Texas.
Oregon or Ohio State.
If I was him, I mean, you don't want to be one of them dudes that go back to the school that you left. That just go to Oregon and call it a day. To me, it's a bad look. I'm not. If I, you know what else is a bad look? Give me 2 seconds. Let me get this off my chest. You know what else is a bad look? Anyone that transfers to their rival school and play the next year, nasty work. I don't think you should go from Michigan to Ohio State. And I get it, like rivalries don't really mean much. They don't mean much anymore. But still, you got to hate somebody. Listen.
You got on me. All right.
Go ahead. What I tell you?
You got on me for hating earlier.
Yeah, that's not hating. I'm not. Listen, the story for what you're saying is Judkins. He left the conference. He didn't go to Mississippi State. He went to Ohio State and leveled up. But I'm saying, like I was telling my wife last night, I was telling Station, I said, listen, we're watching Bama basketball, and I want to say number 2 was at Auburn last year. Then he goes to Bama this year. It's Holloway. Like, come on, bro. I ain't doing it. Nah, not gonna happen. Nope.
Bama fans would like to see what you think would like. There's some murmurs. Bama fans are, and I'm sure it's fans are screaming.
You talking about Cam?
Get yours over in T-Town.
Oh, love it. Why not? But I mean, again, I would go somewhere where what fits his skill set, and they have enough around him for him to showcase his talent. A la what Will Howard did at Ohio State. Like, if Will leaves and they want him at Ohio State, yeah, go back. But they do too much in terms of quarterback run at Ohio State, and he is very, very fragile. He gets hurt every other week. Like, that's one of the things he lacks the availability part of it. And I think Sark might just be like, you know what? You've had your run. Let me go with the young guy. I'd rather head my hedges bet on this young guy than I would with you getting hurt every other week. Because it seems that way, don't it?
Yeah.
He'll go on a good run for like 2 or 3 weeks, then he'll get hurt, then he'll get hurt again. He'll go like that. Just bring it on. But yeah, next question. We good.
Yeah. No, next question. I think Scott. Herb, did I miss where you guys talk great about me? No, that's now, Herb. You're the greatest. You and Raj, y'all's podcast is the greatest.
Herb, why do we need to talk about you, Herb? What have you done for us lately?
Herb plays the jilted lover role on our show. Like, he's always, the undercard, and I've learned now that's his. He's you know.
It's
all a ploy for love.
You don't have to give me more context to my man Herb, so I can either crush him or give him some shine. Which one? Because I can do both. I can be the villain. I can crush him daily if he wants.
No, we got to give. We'll hold off the crushing of Herb yet. We'll see. We'll see.
Herb, you just got to pass for not getting mad.
Pass till Thursday after Bama.
Because I'm coming for your head, my man. No, I'm messing with you, Herb. You family.
Who's next, Dustin? Tough as nails. Is player contracts the answer to the transfer portal problem?
You know what? Tough as nails. Let me give you a little heads up. With this new revenue sharing coming in, a lot of schools are getting contract negotiators and making them associate ADs and having someone overlooking what coaches and general managers are doing with contracts. That's going to have to now go through the universities. So they're getting a cap guy at most schools now to do negotiations and for all contracts and to make sure those contracts that's been negotiated uphold. Because the worst thing that we want, we talked about it again, is dead money. Your production has to equal pay. And when your production doesn't equal pay, you lack value. And if you lack value, you got to go. And when coaches are doing these contracts, a lot of these coaches are doing these contracts through ego, and they want to get the 5-star, the kid that they didn't get the first go around. And you got to have some type of skin in it in order to make those contracts look good. Because when it comes down to revenue sharing, the AD's going to have to answer for that because it's a lot of money that's going out of the school's pocket, not the collectives anymore.
Which shows how convoluted it is, where you say, why can't we just adopt a pro model where there is contracts where it's so, I mean, then you got to unionize.
There you go. You don't want that. You don't have enough money. You don't have enough time. And what would you do if players went on strike?
And it damn well will happen. If you don't believe it, it's about to happen in Major League Baseball again. Nobody's even going to freaking notice.
Yeah, but baseball, it can't happen because you don't have to go to class.
Yeah. Right, not go to class. That's debatable too. How much there? Herb and Raj podcast. How much does the earlier Buffalo-Baltimore matchup play into this next game? Great question, Smoke.
A lot. You know what, Herb? It's a bad matchup for Buffalo. From the fact that
Baltimore's favored by a point. Baltimore's favored by a point on the road at Buffalo. So there's something to what you're saying.
The worst thing that Buffalo can face is a team that runs the ball downhill. They play nickel base all day long with my man Teron Johnson, which is tough as nails, and second best nickel to Trent McDuffie in the NFL, or top 3. But we can go through that another time. But he's one of the better nickels in the league. And the way that Coach McDermott and Bobby Babbage's defense is set up is they like to play with 2 high safeties and force most teams to run the ball, but they don't have enough big bodies or physical enough bodies on the inside to uphold my man Shaka Zulu that's 6'3", 250 pounds, the sledgehammer, and you don't want that drama in January. And then Lamar Jackson, that's not really the issue. The issue is really the physicalness of the way that Baltimore can run the ball and command the clock and keep Superman on the sideline.
Well, yeah. Well, and Henry, man, you talk about tread on the tires. There's nothing in the world like he's defying all logic. There's no like running backs at this point that have ran the ball as much as he has from the time he stepped on a high school football field running it 60 times a game to when Lane was giving it to him 42 a game at Alabama. It makes no sense.
He didn't play his first 2 years though.
That's true. That's true. But still, man, he is. I think,
and even in Baltimore, I mean, even in Tennessee, he was in a tandem role his first few years. He wasn't a lead dog. So all those years, all the way to like 2015 or 16, he wasn't like the bell cow. But I was wrong on him. I'm one of the few people that evaluators that will say when they're right or wrong. I was wrong. I didn't think he was going to be this good in the NFL, and I was too hard on him.
Did you think he would get hit too quick? I mean, because one of the problems with that, if you get him in the backfield, is where you can kind of get him. Did you think he would have struggle getting to that second line?
I didn't think he was tough enough.
Oh wow!
I didn't think he played as violent as he did. Just because I think I was being too harsh on him.
Yeah,
and it's just like most big men in basketball, you don't think they're that physical, and you're like, you should be that. Like everyone looks at Shaq and like, oh, you should average 40, 30 rebounds, 10 blocks, and you're like, but he did average 30, 15, and 3. Yeah. So Derek was doing things in college that I didn't think it would translate well to the NFL game, and I was dead ass wrong.
I mean, his physicality in the secondary. I mean, NFL players make business decisions when they see Derek get into the secondary.
He's never got caught. He's fat. Like I've never seen it. I've never seen nothing like this.
Someone said, Tough as Nails said Derek will go down as a top 5 running back in NFL history. Easily. I think he goes in the argument on the Rushmore. I think he gets in the argument as one of the greatest of all time. He's done something that
I wouldn't argue with you. I wouldn't.
I mean, LaDainian Tomlinson, Henry,
Marshall Faulk, Barry Sanders,
Barry. How do you argue against Derek in the fact that, again, in an era where NFL running backs are going more to they want guys like Alvin Kamara that catch it out of the backfield and do all this. Henry's a throwback to a guy that gets stronger as the game goes on, and he's
no arguments. No argument to me. I've been wrong on him before, won't be wrong on him again.
It won't be wrong. With that said, and we'll get to the next one. Does that put pressure on Allen and Buffalo to have to score almost every? How much pressure does that put on Allen to have to win the game?
It's NFL playoffs. Every time you get the ball, you got to do something with it, and you got to get 7s, not 3s.
There you go. Tough as Nails. I know it's very even, but who is the top program in the SEC? I'll let Smoke hurt feelings here. I ain't gonna do it.
The top program is Texas.
No.
For me, it's easy.
It didn't take long.
They got the best players.
Money.
They finished out in the top 4 of the college football playoffs. I mean, you can argue Georgia.
They were in it last year too. I mean, I know they're in the SEC for the first time this year, but they were in the Final Four last year. So
just call it what it is. I mean, truth is the truth.
In what quarterback, if you could be any SEC team and pick your quarterback out of the litter to start your team next year, all of them would go take Texas for next year too. So, I mean,
Texas or Tennessee?
Yeah, Manning or Nico would be the two I would go snab. Chris Camp, we're gonna lose. Well, gonna lose Simpson, but that would work. I don't know. Maybe believe it till I see it.
Yeah, I mean, if Simpson runs away from competition from a freshman, he is what he is. Go play at Middle Tennessee State.
I don't know, man. He's stuck around this long, and in a world where kids aren't sticking around, I'd be shocked. I think he sees this as his chance, but if he does get his job taken from him in this world, yeah, whatever.
If he loses the job by the spring, he wasn't good enough. And if I'm him, I mean, I'll leave if I lose my job to a freshman.
Oh, hell yeah. I'd be out too. I mean, especially if I've waited my turn. Now, if I got there and got beat out, I mean, come on, man, try it for a year or two. But when you've waited 2 or 3 years and then you still get beat out, the writing's probably on the wall.
You lose your job to a freshman, it's over. Go home.
Yeah, Tennessee's nothing. Jeremy Matthews, how do you guys think Miami will do with Carson Beck?
Worse than they did last year.
That's your answer. He's a lesser version of what they had this year, and they couldn't get into the playoffs. So there you go.
He's the reason why Georgia did not win back-to-back championships.
Look, and something went on with and he got all that love. He never won them. That I'm not a
he's not.
And now he's down. Now look, and our coach always told us during football season, stay away from it. And now he's getting closer to it. Down in Miami, it's just I ain't expecting much.
Yeah, I just Petty, I usually look in people's eyes, and I can tell you how intelligent you are when I look at people's eyes. There ain't nothing really going on in them. Like, hey, man, the whole world's coming to an end.
Man, you about made me on air be really like the big asshole in Daniel Petty. About just came out on air. Like, man, you looking in that dude in the eyes, you had to look on both sides of his head. All right. All right, DT. Ty Halson was Razor Ruddock, a cab driver, as well as Frank Bruno. Dude, that fired up the chat. I'm telling you, Mike Tyson talk will get this age group going. Razor Ruddock.
Razor Ruddock, come on, man. Yes. Frank Bruno, yes. Them dudes are garbage cans. Man.
But it's like Rocky. He had to fight whoever the challengers were. He couldn't help that Lennox Lewis was 15 when he was a stud.
I'm not knocking it. I'm just telling you that's just what it is.
Who do you think the greatest fighter of all time is? We've done quarterback. Who's the greatest boxer of all time?
I don't think it's close. Floyd Mayweather. Keep going.
Oh, well, we're doing the pound for pound thing. Okay.
Floyd Mayweather. Greatest.
Roy Jones Jr. was pretty good pound for pound for a while there too. If we're going,
listen, boxing's real easy. Okay.
Not always.
And I got to run. He's never lost a fight, and he fought everybody. And he made it look easy. It's not hard.
Mayweather's not a bad one.
We can argue this. We can argue this next week. Got to get to this NFL game.
Oh yeah. All right. What was the next one? Smoke calling Razor Ruddock trash. Why isn't Kirby in this NFL talk? Ooh.
$130 million. Next. That's what he's getting. Yeah, he's getting $100-something million. No.
And I'll be honest, man. I know I screamed at the NFL. You would take that. You're not going to take that a college job over the NFL. I do think some guys are made for college. I don't think Kirby's a college guy, right?
Got it. Yeah, $100 million. I ain't going nowhere. It's easy.
Trainwreck saying you got casual boxing vibes calling Razor Ruddock trash.
Yeah, Razor Ruddock. I'm a proud Jamaican, man. All right. If I'm gonna tell you he ain't good, he ain't good.
Did you watch any of the Jake Paul Tyson thing?
I don't like to waste my time.
Oh, there you go. Okay, was that it, Justin? We got it. It was a huge ass waste of time. Oh, that was it. All the questions, man. Appreciate the audience coming out as always on this Monday night. So me and Smoke could hurt somebody's feelings along the way. I think he hurt mine tonight, and all of us Tyson guys. Did you play Tyson's Punch Out? That's the last thing I'm gonna tell you on Tyson. Did you ever play?
Me? Never on the video game system.
All right, now we know what's wrong with Smoke. You're out there chasing Hussein Bolt all over that island.
Look at you. That's a culturally biased statement. I'm gonna let you slide.
That is not, you said fastest. We talked about Jamaica, man. That you were.
I left Jamaica when I was 7 years old, man. I was in Silver Spring, Maryland. I was playing basketball, baseball, doing something. My father didn't. We didn't have video games. I was made to read books and play and go outside.
I was gonna say you did. If you stayed for a long time, you dropped the accent real well once you got over here.
Yeah, I've been in the United States since I was 7 years old. I'm 44.
Man, Smoke, glad you are over here. Glad you came to Alabama, and glad you do this show with me on Monday night, sir. And we got a full one. We'll do follow the cast, and I'll tell you what we got going this week. Where can we find you, Smoke?
Man, you can find me at Coach Smoke GVD on X, and that's about all, my friends. And on Mondays, right here on Tuesdays, you're gonna tell them where you can find me. I know
Tuesday, tomorrow night, you're going to find him on the flagship, the Bama Standard at 6 Central. Always hopping guests. Last week, they had AJ McCarron. If you missed that episode, it is worth it was a good one, man. That was a really damn good show. And he really lit up when McCoy came. You could tell that seeing his old mate, like it kind of calmed him down, and the show kind of lit up at that point.
When he saw Caleb, we always do, man. Whenever you always see our old guys, you always do. You got to remember, we're 17 and some of us were 18 years old when we first met each other, and we're old men now.
But those are the coolest moments of these shows, and I don't know if Justin even realizes the magic he's kind of created with that for so many Bama fans, or those moments in the show when you get AJ and those guys together, and even y'all that didn't play together, but you can tell the brethren. And I know Justin was nervous for it because he's been trying to get AJ for a while, but man, AJ just kind of loosened up, and it was absolutely a great show. But hey, got another great quarterback that followed Mr. McCarron, and one Blake Sims, who I'm sure will have a few freshwater stories from his time there. But Sims used to be a part of the network, but he will be joining us tomorrow at 6 Central on the Bama Standard with Smoke, Justin Riley, boy Marvin, Stephen Smith. Don't want to forget that one. I always forget Stephen. And of course, the comedian Steve Brown. And then after that, 8 Central, we got the final whistle. Me, Matt Caddell, Chris James, Lushan, Ty, the star of the show, Dan. God knows what we're talking about. Just look at the graphic. I think we're going to be talking about who slid into the DMs of that girl at the Tyson fight, as a matter of fact. And then Wednesday night, we got Sishi on the Crimson Dynasty with JB and Dan. And then after that, Teague's take. Boy, it was hot last week. He broke down the whole Milrow situation at the Gator. I was about to call it Gator Bowl. I guess Smoke had to hop off. But always check out Teague's take, 8:15. And then on Thursday night, our basketball show, Going Hard in the Paint with JT. My man Herb, I know he's out there. We're going to be talking basketball. Bama off their big win this weekend, and now they got Ole Miss Tuesday night coming to Coleman. We will be talking about that. Bama squeaked one out against A&M this week, but that was a good win, man. That's always a tough place to win. And, Thursday night, 7:30. Check us out, Going Hard in the Paint. And then Sunday night, Talking Bama with JT, JB, Stephen Smith, and the gang. God knows, I know they'll be talking about what's coming on in the future. Like I said, Smoke just I think he had to go. He had some other stuff, but I'm just telling y'all what's coming up. So hit that like and subscribe. If you're on Twitter X, come over, hit that like and subscribe so you can get everything that's coming up this week on the Bama Standard. With that said, man, we appreciate you guys, and see you next week on the Open and Kick.